All right, guys. Welcome everyone to the Iron Cave. Today I am co-hostless due to George handling his business as a dad, and he will be back with us hopefully in our next guest interview. Once again, my name is Chris Martinez. I am the host of the Iron Cave, and today's special guest is all-around athlete, a tennis guru, if you will, Mr. Maurice Willacy.
I appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate it. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. What's up, man? Been a long time. Long
Like
time.
I said, yeah, it's been a long time. But I don't know how long has it been? A
I'm
decade?
thinking I'm thinking 10 years probably. I think the
10
last time
years?
I saw you, we were playing the adult league baseball and we were celebrating at Applebee's or something like that after winning.
Okay.
And I think you showed up.
And you know it's a good time when everybody's at Applebee's in Florida.
It's terrible now, but yeah, it is
Hilarious.
horrible now. But all right, man. So we were just catching up just a little bit here. If you could do me a favor and just let the audience know, like I said, you're just an overall athlete to me. You were someone that, growing up, I saw there was a supreme dedication there, man. Like you were always like, "Hey, I can't hang out. I got to go work out. I got to go
Yep.
practice." That mentality at such a young age back when we were that young is so hard to find, especially back then. It's funny because, like Kobe Bryant was always
Yep.
like Mamba mentality, right? And it
Yes.
was just like when I heard that term, your face was one of the first immediate people I would think
Wow,
of
that
when I
that's
would.
all. I mean, I can get a better compliment than that than to be in the same sentence as one as my favorite athlete, Kobe Bryant. So
Dude, yeah. So if you just let the audience know, let them know about your history and where you're at now and how you began,
yeah,
floor is yours.
it's a pretty extensive history, and my father, he actually played soccer. He's from Jamaica, played soccer growing up, played semi-pro, played in college, and he kind of instilled a lot of those habits in me at a very, very young age. So really started playing organized sports around age 5. I was playing basketball, playing soccer, and was introduced to tennis around the same time, age 5, and just fell in love with sports. It's just something that we did playing with your friends. That's how you meet your friends, and then took things a little bit more serious as I got better and better with each of my sports. At the time, I was best at basketball, so I was trading off basketball, soccer, and tennis,
What
and
position were you
started.
in basketball?
In basketball, I was always a point guard. I
Okay.
was always the
Okay.
little guy. So I was always a little guy. I was actually pretty. I wasn't that tall until really high school. The last few years of high school, that's when I kind of sprout out a bit more. But a point guard, and that point guard mentality kind of translated a little bit into the tennis, where you're kind of in charge of things. You're kind of running the show a little bit more, and those things kind of translated into tennis, and definitely helped me with my development for sure. So that was the beginning stages, and later on started to play tournaments in tennis around age 8. Was getting my butt whooped. Did not win a game at all. 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-1, 6-1, just getting absolutely demolished. But always, there was always something about tennis that I always enjoyed. I love the aesthetics of it. I feel like it's a very beautiful sport when done correctly, and I love that one-on-one aspect, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a little bit
Yeah,
later on.
it's super competitive, right? Because it's you
Yep,
versus the other person. You don't have teammates to rely on. There's no luck. It's literally your skill against that person's skill. And
absolutely.
dude, tennis players, I admire it, man. It's just, I was never quick on my feet, so it was never a sport that I could like pick up. For
Right.
me, it was always like spurt plays. That's why baseball and football worked out so good for me.
And you're the baseball guru, so yes, so absolutely.
So, all right, so 8 years old, going through tournaments and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I met you more in the teenage years. So I
Yes,
think you were further along. I think I met you around when you were like 16, 17, if I'm not
I think that
mistaken.
around.
Yeah. And I know you were heavy into it and you went to college, right?
Yeah, I
To,
played college, but even before then, I started playing professionally around age 15, around that high school time. Obviously, the rules stated you couldn't have a full schedule um, playing professional tournaments, but I did travel, play a few professional tournaments, played a few qualifiers, and I was a little bit more established at that point as a junior, a lot of the habits were kind of already instilled by then.
So at that age and you're doing those type of tournaments and stuff, like where was it where you were just like, holy crap, I'm here. Like I'm like, this is insane.
It's honestly wasn't, I really didn't think that, oh, I made it. I had goals, I had goals in mind, and I was just redefining my goals. So when I decided to solely pick tennis, where my daddy sat me down and he said, "Okay, we're gonna finance one of these things, and but you have to pick one because especially growing up around that time, early 2000s, sports became where you just had to be a specialist. You wouldn't see that
But yeah,
Deion Sanders
no.
or Bo Jackson where you can go multiple. It just became so competitive in sports where I had to pick one. So yeah, that's where what I had to pick, and that's where I was on that.
Okay, okay. All right. So high school tournaments going through that, and then you
hmm
went to UF, right?
So I finished up at finished my education
Finished.
UF. I actually never
Okay.
played for UF. I actually played for Princeton and Howard universities. Played there for a total of 1.5 years college. And like I said, like I was saying before, I was kind of redefining my goals. Yes, I was playing professional tennis at the point, but I really wanted to be one of the big dogs in tennis. And I saw that where I was, honestly, my development skills needed a little bit more work, and I just needed to spend a little bit more time on the tournament scene. So I actually ended up leaving college. I was still taking classes. I was still taking one or two on the road remote, but I just needed to fully get engaged in the tournament scene. So I ended up leaving school and just going on the tour and just competing year round, playing 15 to 20 tournaments a year.
Okay. 15, 20. How old are you at this point?
I think at that point I was 18. So it was about
That
8.
is a crazy mature
Yeah.
decision at 18 years old to just
It's
evaluate yourself like that.
it's tough. It was really tough, but easy at the same time because that's what I wanted to do. I feel like all of us human beings, when we want something, we're gonna go and get after it. So it's what I wanted. It was a realistic plan that I kind of gave to my parents. Fortunately, my parents were able to finance it because you know tennis is one of the most expensive sports. It's ridiculous. It's
It's
insane.
insane. I'm
It's
like,
insane.
I hope my daughter's athletic. Don't get me wrong. She's 8 now, and we're kind of like trying to figure out what she wants to do. You know, she's
Right.
very clumsy. She's very clumsy, but she at least tries, right? And in my head, I'm like, please don't pick up tennis. Like, I get it. It's very fun. It's very good, but it is so expensive. Oh
It's
my
really
God.
expensive. So
Yeah.
once again, even at that age, I was very grateful of my parents just taking up that burden and allowing me the opportunity to play. Because without them and that opportunity and the finances and funds, no chance.
All right. All right. So let's continue down this story. You go and you start doing tournaments. You said 20 a year or something like that?
About 20 tournaments, somewhere between 15 and 20. If I'm in a healthy year, my body is not breaking down, but somewhere near that 20.
Top five finishes, first finishes,
A lot of losing, a lot of losing. So I'm 18
builds
at the time.
builds
Yeah,
character, right?
it builds character. It's a part of the process. And I mean, this happens in all sports. You're gonna lose, but it's how do you take those losses? Are you gonna lose and quit? Are you gonna lose, get back on the horse and jump on? So I think at the time ranking not so high, was able to build up after I kind of got a good feel of how it was on the professional scene. I think moving to Florida was a big help because at the time I thought I was fit. I thought I was fit until I moved to Florida and I saw how hot it was.
Started training in that
Insane.
heat.
Training. I moved in July. I'll never forget. I played a tournament as soon as I moved there. Thought I was fit. Thought I was coming in big dog skills. Ended up playing a guy who's been living in Florida for the longest time, and I was gassed. But those things really helped me. So that match changed my entire tennis career. Where I said I will never lose a match because I'm getting tired. So I just really concentrated on things that I can do. So fitness was one of those things, and like you said, we were speaking earlier, just making those sacrifices. Obviously, I wanted to
Yeah.
go out with my friends, and I saw people going here, going to the clubs, going here, traveling, going to the beach. But I kind of had to make that decision, make that sacrifice where, hey, no, I gotta, sorry guys, I'll see you maybe tomorrow. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta put that work in just because I knew if I can get a little bit more fit, I can compete at the highest level. And I was fortunately I was able to.
Right. Yep. So let's see, we're 18, 19, right? So let's early 20s. How does that shape out for you? How did that help, build to where you are now?
It really did. So it was a learning experience, a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but I feel like once you keep going, you start to figure things out. I think that's a big thing in sports. It's problem solving, figuring things out, and eventually I was able to figure it out and I started to get some wins, some big wins. So I was probably playing the best tennis of my life around age 21. Obviously, the body, I had the 21-year-old body. Right now, I have the 39-year-old body. It's two different bodies. So the body's breaking down a little bit and I'm waking up, breaking down. But back when I was 21, just had it all together. And mentally, I was sharp. I was training often. I was training about, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 7 hours a day, 6 days a week, traveling, consistently playing my tournaments and picking up those wins. And when those wins happen, the confidence starts to grow and you start to think a different way. Your mentality changes and it became a really enjoyable experience. And I used to reflect back then and saying, wow, I used to lose all these matches. Now I'm winning most of my matches. So it was a really good time in my early 20s.
Yeah, definitely. So you saw where you were at with those tournaments. You're like, man, I keep losing. Something
Yeah.
needs to change. And then you started making different habits, right? Different different goals, different things that you had to do, sacrifices, like you said. And once you did that and the habits started becoming reoccurring, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do, you started seeing results. You started seeing a change in your play. And it's like, how simple is that? Like you're
It's looking back, it yeah, it was such a long process, figuring it out. And it was one of those things where I had to kind of take a step back. And actually, I never told you guys this story. I actually quit. I quit when I was 19. Quit for 3 days. 3 days I quit. I was tired of it. I was asking myself, I'm sacrificing my entire life for this sport. I'm losing. I remember I think I played three tournaments and I lost first round. I lost the first round through turn. That's never happened in my entire life. I was pretty frustrated, and I said, you know what? Let me just finish up my education. I'm done with the sport, and I want to live. I want to live my life and be a human being again, and enjoy that time with my friends. And luckily, I had the support of my dad, where he didn't allow me to quit. He said I put in too much work to let it go like this. I kind of took his words, sat down, and I just went back to the drawing board and just tried to figure out, okay, what can I do to really maximize my game here? So that's when I really took fitness to a different level, things that I don't recommend that others do purposely practice at the hottest part of the day in Florida. So I was going out. Nobody was outside. Nobody. I forgot the park that we used to go to. I would go run on the grass, bring my soccer cleats and just run on the grass for 2 hours straight. Bring my water, obviously, 'cause staying hydrated.
yeah,
Bring my
yeah.
electrolytes, which is I don't
Key.
recommend people doing that. It can be a little bit dangerous, but just really getting my fitness to I'm talking about to an elite level. So that alone took me pretty much all the way to the top, all the way to the top. I wasn't able to stay at the top, but I was able to compete and beat some really good players because I can just outlast most of them. That was a big thing, just trying to figure things out and making the necessary adjustments in order to succeed. And that's kind of helping me throughout my entire life. That's something that I preach. I'm constantly doing interviews, podcasts, and I talk to players and especially young players. Get it done. No excuses. You got to get it done. I stopped whining. Not that I was a big whiner, but I didn't have as many, how do you say, high level practice partners at the time. And I was kind of using that as a little bit of an excuse and saying, I need
Almost
better
like a
practice
almost like a
partners.
crutch or something?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
So I kind of put that aside and like I said before, what can I do? What is something that I can do that I can control, I have full control of, and let me take the bull by the horns and let's get after this and no excuse. Let's get it done.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That's crazy. I didn't know about those 3 days where you gave up. Well, not gave up, but you were just
Yeah.
you were like, This
I was
isn't working.
done.
Imagine that your father didn't talk to you.
I
Like
different
there's
life,
so there's so
different
many
life.
athletes that don't have that don't have that person to say, "Hey, what are you doing? This is what you've worked your whole life for. Just because you're in a rough patch, don't give it up. This is your
It's
dream."
important. It's important.
It's so important.
It's a great life skill. It's something that I carry with me through this day, and I'm proud of these. I'm proud of those moments. I always look back on those things, and it was dark times for me. It was really dark times where
Now,
I just wanted to go in a corner and cry. But like I said, having that support system and just being able to take that information, because I could have took that information and said, you know what, Dad, I really don't want to play. I ended up taking his advice as because I my dad, he's awesome. He's awesome. He's always giving out really good advice, and that's just something that I can take with me throughout my entire life. No matter how dark those times, there's some light. There's some light on
yeah.
the other side of that tunnel.
That's so good. Like I'm by far, like I'm not going to say here that I was an elite athlete. I would have gone pro. I would have this, but I think I was decent enough that I could have gotten a college scholarship from it. I got hurt junior year playing football, tore two ligaments in my knee. So I was just like, it's my junior year. I'm not really getting scouts aren't really looking at me now because I'm injured. So I was just like, I'm going to quit and I'm going to have fun my senior year and do this stuff. That could have been the opportunity where someone in my life would have been like, hey, don't do that. No, everybody accepted me doing it. I've been playing T-ball since I was like
Yeah,
5 years old.
right.
And, I just was so obsessed with the game and so in love with it. And I just let it go because I was in my own head because of injury. And I was just like, I just gave up.
It's
But,
hard. It's
oh,
hard.
yeah. Especially
It's
like when you
hard.
get down in that road and you're in that mindset and you're just slumped over and you're just I'm out, I'm done. Sometimes that helping hand to pull you out to say, "Hey, wake up,
100%. You need
change
that helping hand
change
sometimes.
your course completely." And like you said,
Absolutely.
completely a different person if
I would have
had you
been a
gone the
different
other way.
person, different life. I felt like that move, that continuation to play changed my mentality where I went into that Mamba mentality of if I can get through this, I can get through anything. I'm good. I'm good. So, and that's something that's funny. My girlfriend's always mentioning, like, wow, you stayed calm in that moment. I'm like, yeah, I've seen some times. I've gone through certain struggles in my life, not just with the tennis, where it allows me to put things in perspective and always understand at the end of the day, if I put in maximum effort, I'm gonna be all right.
Results match effort, right? I mean, what you
Absolutely.
put in is what you get out.
Absolutely.
So, all right, all right. So we're 21. We're winning. We're doing our thing. Is there any like notable names, notable matches that have
Hmm.
stuck with you through the years where you're just like, man, I won, or that was a really good match and that person challenged me?
Yes. There was one match in particular, this one spectacular match. I'm having a good tournament. I think this one's in Lakeland, Florida. Having a good tournament. It's packed with great, great talent. And I play a guy, I gotta go a shout out, Evan Speck. Evan Speck, awesome guy. Awesome, awesome guy. He's one of the best players in the US. Like I said, My fitness increased. I'm feeling really good. And everybody is betting on Evan, and I end up not just not just beating him, I broke him down where he had to kind of retire and quit the match. Well, he continued, but he kind of had to quit the match. And I remember my buddy after there calling his dad, and he's like, "Ah, yeah, Maurice is over here making people quit out here." And that just gave me a boost of confidence. Hate to call out Evan. Evan, sorry, Evan. But yeah, that little boost of confidence was able allowed me to play at even higher level right there. So I was able to carry that momentum in for another maybe year or 2 years before I was able to retire. So I think I ended up retiring around age 24.
Okay. Before we retired, and dude, it's crazy
Yeah.
with stamina, man.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even back think about the Ali George Foreman fight. What
Mm-hmm.
did he do? George Foreman
Yeah.
had the power.
Rope a dope.
George Foreman, he was just like, I'm gonna tire him out. I know I can outlast him, and I'm gonna get him in the end. And
That's a
it
gutsy move.
so
That was a
gutsy,
gutsy move by Ali, the rope a dope.
and he did it.
He did
And
it.
it is just like for something like that happened so many years ago, and for athletes to not figure out, hey, if my stamina is peak
Oh,
and
yeah.
all I have to do is outlast this other guy, I need to have skill. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Skill needs to be there. And he could be more talented and more skillful. But if my obsession and my stamina are higher than his,
Oh, yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're winning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
it's the name of the game, especially in the Florida heat.
Dude, we used to do 3 days in the summers for football.
Yeah.
We and we'd be go in on a Thursday and we'd be leave Sunday. First workout would be in the morning, then our workout would be midday, and then another workout in the evening.
Was
And
this
like
in
I
Ocala, Florida?
yeah, this was
Oh,
out in this was in Denellen, Denellen High School. Shout out Denellen High School.
Denellen High School. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Ocala, Gainesville. I don't think people understand how hot it is over there. 'Cause we're
It's
we're
that
landlocked. We're
humidity,
not
dude. It's
near,
not.
and it's humid.
Yeah,
It's a nonstop
dude. I
of it.
was I was playing with some ballers. Like on my team we had Terrence Brooks.
Okay.
Terrence went on to go play for FSU and win the championship with
Right.
oh my God, Jameis and all them. He went NFL. He went and played for Baltimore,
Mhm.
the Jets, Eagles, Patriots, and Texans.
Wow.
Yeah. Then we had Lorente McRae. Lorente played for UF, and then he went
Right.
with the Broncos and won a Super Bowl with the Broncos.
Yes. Yes. I remember.
So,
Yes.
dude, we had like studs on that team, and
Oh, that's talent right there. That's a
oh my
lot of
God,
talent.
just surrounding you, right? And I'm a
Right.
D lineman. My job is to get in through there and just hit somebody. And we're doing these 3-day workouts. And I think middle of afternoon workout, I am gassed, my boy. I'm just like,
Yeah, that's tough.
I'm like, what am I
That's tough.
doing? I'm
But
about to
you
pass out.
exactly, but you come out, like you said, with that increased stamina.
Yeah. And it showed in our games, man. It like we'd go and we'd play Forest High School, we'd play North Marion or Chiefland, stuff like that.
Vanguard.
Vanguard. Third quarter, fourth quarter, our guys still look fresh. They're all dying and gassed out, and it's like, dang, like this
It was
is
worth it.
insane. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely worth it.
Didn't get to state though, but we got pretty far in districts.
No worries. No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah. So, 24, we retired, right?
Mhm. Yeah, 24, and yes, just really decided just to finish up my education, finished up in with the physical therapy.
Physical therapy, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So ended
And
up
that's
doing that.
where, and that's where you went into coaching, right?
And that's when I really started my journey into coaching. So as I was playing, I was also maybe a hitting partner for a lot of the top players in the world. So at that point, I was doing a little bit more coaching on the pro tour. Absolutely loved it. Wasn't making as much money doing it. So ended up starting a tennis academy in Gainesville, Florida with two of my friends, Jeremy Bayon and Chris McDonald. Chris McDonald is still holding down the fort in Gainesville with the academy. It still exists. It's called Jetta. It's Junior Elite Tennis Academy in Gainesville, Florida, and we actually started up with 6 kids, and I think we grew the number all the way to like 60 within a year, and we really focused in on
Wow,
kids
that's a lot.
playing
Yeah,
college tennis. So ended up doing that, learned a lot with teenagers. Obviously, working with teenagers, you got to be super patient. Super
right.
patient. I feel like I'm naturally a patient guy, but I ended up really learning. You know how teenagers are.
Yeah.
They'll test your patience for sure. So kind of fell in love with coaching juniors especially, and it just became very satisfying and something that I'm still a part of, and I'm just trying to, give back to a sport that's given me so much.
Any prodigies come out of that?
Actually, yes. So
Yeah.
big time prodigy. So from that academy at the time, um, there was a new coach in town, Brian Shelton. Brian Shelton of University of Florida. And at the time, obviously, if you're a UF coach, you're constantly traveling, and he needed a place where his kids could train. So I ended up meeting both of his kids, Emma Shelton and Ben Shelton, and they were inside the tennis academy. And I personally worked with Ben. So all my private lessons, I did a lot of private lessons with Ben, traveled with him at tournaments, was coaching him at tournaments, and obviously he's in the top 10 right now, doing his thing. And we had other players right now. So we had another player who's killing it on the college scene, DJ Bennett. She's awesome. Definitely look out for that name, DJ Bennett. She was number one in the country at one point. I think she's in the top 15 right now, finishing up at Auburn. Yeah, we just have some ballers, and I definitely want to mention a name, Emily Dush. So Emily Dush is coaching right now. I forgot which school she's coaching in Sacramento. I'm always talking about Emily, huge talent, and she stopped playing coaching, but I'm really glad she's coaching. Whoever she's coaching, they are so lucky to have her getting the information. Her as a player, she can give so much. But notably, those big names, DJ Bennett and obviously Ben Shelton, definitely holding it down.
So for you being a player, right? And then you being a coach, and you see these prodigies, right? We'll say prodigies, but you know what I mean. You see these people who are obsessed with the game, and to them, it's just not, oh, my parents dropped me off. This is what I need to do, right? When you see that and you see that type of work ethic, right? Are you just like, man, if 80% of my other students could just harness this, right? They
Absolutely.
could, like, at what
Absolutely.
point in your training do you see that person? You're like, this kid's gonna make it. This, you know,
You see it instantly. You see it
yeah,
instantly, and you start to gravitate towards that type of person. Because for me personally, that's how I was. I was a person of, I really want this, coach. I'll do whatever it takes. And when I see that in kids, obviously I'm going to spend a little bit more time in order for that kid to reach their goals. And this is something that we don't talk about enough in sports. Yes, we want to make it very inclusive. I think it's very important that everyone has an opportunity and access for the sport. But at the same time, if we're talking about high level competitive sports, it's not for everyone. It's a lot of dedication. So when I see kids asking, because there's a lot of take from a coach. Coaches are giving their time, they're giving their knowledge. Sometimes they're giving their body, they're out there with you with the grind. What a coach really wants to see is that effort, that attitude. We want to see that reciprocation of dedication. So when we do get that, usually sky's the limit.
yeah. And it's a shame because there's, like, you know, being in sports my whole life, like I've seen kids with just a natural God-given talent,
Oh
and
yeah,
you're like, wow, like this
yeah,
dude's incredible. He's gonna, you know, but they don't have the obsession. They don't have the work ethic, and they drop the ball.
yeah,
I'm not gonna say names, but there was a kid that I played with from T-ball probably up until middle school, because we separated in high school.
yes,
And in my head, like, that kid was always like, I want to be like him. I want to play like him. He's just, you put him in any position, he played shortstop, outfield, catcher. He could pitch. He was amazing. He was amazing to watch. And he would be all over the field making plays like it was nothing. Like it was
yes,
just second nature to him.
right.
We get out of middle school, we go into high school. He falls into the wrong crowd,
Yeah,
and
that's another thing.
you see someone who could have gone so far, but could have been one of the greats in my opinion.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I still watch sports consistently. I'm always watching college, you know, pro sports, and it's just like I see those type of plays, I'm like, man, that kid was making those type of plays back when we were young. Imagine if he like kept going. And to see that wasted talent, I think is just so,
it's
I feel
it's
like if,
tough.
yeah, I feel like if there's more coaches like you, right? Coaches that want to develop people and kind of give them the word like your father gave to you, like don't quit, don't go to it. Coaches are so important, man. There's
It's
athletes who
everything.
find that coach is amazing. And I don't think there's been an athlete that's gone pro where they don't talk about any like previous coaches that helped them get to where they are today.
100%. It's a team effort. It's all encompassing. It's cultivating an environment in order for that player to succeed no matter the sport. So you have your coaches, you have your parents, you have your friends that influence your girlfriend, your boyfriend. It is all encompassing. And I think it's, yes, the player can most of the time put themselves in an environment, but sometimes some of us are a little bit more fortunate to have those environments. And like I said, I'm very grateful and fortunate that I was able to have that support system through my entire career.
Right, right. All right. So you got your degree in physical therapy,
Hmm.
right? You're doing your thing coaching over here in Gainesville. Where do we go next?
Yeah, so I was in Florida and kind of just wanted a change of environment. And Florida is great. I loved it, but I felt I never really felt at home. I never really felt at home. So I grew up in the DMV area, DC area, Northern Virginia, Maryland, and I ended up going back there, being close to my friends and family, and that was a very important time in my life where it was kind of that push that reset button, get back and just figure out what do I want to do with my career? What do I want to do next? So ended up going there and I started to kind of dabble into data analytics, and that kind of took me all the way into going up until a few years ago actually, where I was actually in finance. So I went into finance. I was living in New York previously, maybe the last 8 years before I moved here to Seattle a year ago, and just not recently kind of made a decision just to put my full focus into the tennis industry. So I'm kind of doing a lot of things with media, obviously doing a lot of podcasts, traveling, talking, sharing my story, and I'm just trying to find my path and my lane in the tennis industry.
Man, so I mean, here you are in your late 30s and you're
Hmm.
still growing. You're
Still
still
trying,
finding personal growth, still trying to make your way in the world and just but your main love is still part of your life. It's still in there. It's tennis,
which
right?
is awesome. Which is
Yeah,
awesome to get paid to work in a field that you absolutely love. I mean, it's a blessing, and I'm so grateful.
that's awesome, man. That I mean, that's all you could really ask for, right?
Absolutely.
It's way better than going to a 9 to 5 and just dreading every day, like wasting we get one life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, why waste it?
Yeah.
Why do something that is just not for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear, man. I'm happy
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. So you're doing media, you're doing things like that. So are you still coaching? Are you
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Still coaching heavily actually.
are you,
So
yeah, yeah. Go
been
ahead.
coaching a lot of the high performance juniors. I would call that my specialty. My passion actually is working with the young ones. So my sweet spot is around that age seven to 10. I really love working with the young ones because we all know they're a sponge,
Yeah,
absolute sponge, and the joy that they bring on a daily basis, the things that they say, absolutely
dude,
hilarious. They're so direct.
kids kids sports are just fun to watch, man.
They really
It's
are.
great.
It
Uh
really is. It
like
really
you
is.
know, there was a few times where I would go and I would umpire games or things like that, and it would just be so funny to me.
They're hilarious. They're hilarious because they're still learning things. But when they do get it right, it is one of the most satisfying things to watch. I was working with a young girl last night. I think she's around 8 years old, and I was teaching her how to slice. And to see her progression in 3 months, incredible, incredible. And to see the smile on her face when she's getting it right, it's a pretty good looking slice. So,
And
like
look
I
at that.
said, working with
You're at
kids,
an
it's awesome.
age you're at their age where you can make that base, that
Right.
habit, that mentality. That's
Right.
awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Absolutely. It's great. So I'm kind of doing that. I've been asked from a few players especially on the WTA tour. We're in talks of me being the new head coach. So just like I said, just really dabbling here and there in the tennis industry and just finding my lane.
Awesome. Awesome. So, like I was telling you earlier before, you know, this podcast for me is pretty much like it's something I always wanted to do. I was always like
Yes.
obsessed with talk radio as a kid. I really was. I used to listen to Howard Stern in the morning, Monsters in the morning with my dad going to work on summer times and stuff like that. So to basically touch back is, you know, like I wanted this podcast to be, like I said, about comics, sports, and personal growth. And
Yes.
for me, I feel like you hit two of those pillars, right? I mean, very sports oriented and for personal growth wise, man, to me, you're somebody that's just never stopped growing. And you, like I said, had that mentality at a very young age and you just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's awesome to see where you're at, man. I'm so happy for you.
Likewise, likewise. And I have a great, what was the final push for you to put out the podcast? Because when you told me you did, I was so excited for you. Really happy
Yeah.
for you. It's awesome.
So this has been technically I've had like scripts and stuff saved on my phone since like
Right,
2019. And I just kept it in there and I was just like, nah, I really don't want to put it out yet. I still there was a lot of behind the scenes of where I wanted to like perfect it, right?
right,
And it came to a point, I think it was like towards the end of last year, where it's like, you know what? If I don't do this, I'm never going to do it. It's never going to be perfect for me. I need to just do it and get it going off the ground. My original co host was going to be my friend David. He's active Air Force. Unfortunately, he got based in Virginia. So I was like, oh, there goes my host,
right, right,
my co
right.
host. So I was like, all right, let me figure this out. And as I was figuring this thing out, Adam's doing his own thing. He's got his Street Geeks podcast.
Yes.
Shout out Street Geeks. Those guys are doing
Shout
it.
out to Adam Ramos.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But I had another one of my friends reach out, and he's always known that like my co-host now, George, that he's always been known that I wanted to do this, and he's like, "Why haven't you put it out?" And I wanted to be perfect, and he's like, "You need to just do it." And he
that's
kept
awesome.
sending me stuff. Like he was like, "Do this, do this, do this," giving me more and more ideas. And my wife, bless her for also, she's like, "I promise you, you spend like an hour at least 3 nights a week just writing shit down and planning shit down for this that you haven't put out yet." She's like, just go do it. She's like, if you need podcast space, we'll figure it out. Let's just go do it. And yeah, and it took off from there. In January, we had our first episode, and we're trying to be like bi-weekly, drop them. So we're going to be on episode 4
That's
now.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So proud, man.
Yeah, so it's going
Great
all
stuff.
right. It's a little slow. We're getting a lot of views actually. I think one of our shorts on YouTube hit like 3,000 views.
That's awesome.
Um but it's for me it's not about, getting big with it. It's a hobby, it's something I enjoy. And for someone who's personally like probably the past 7 years, my personal growth has just been really good for me and really life changing. I was in a bad spot myself, going through depression with my father dying, my first divorce, and I was just spiraling, right? But I found myself in, I started going back to the gym. I started working out and changing my mentality. I went from 290 pounds to 198 pounds. And, I found myself again. And then from there, I was just building up, going to work, going to school, and trying to be better myself. So
Yeah,
that's
that
kind of
bounce back.
why, yeah, that's kind of why I want I want to have personal growth stories on here. I want people to know that you don't have to stay in that stagnant position. You can
Absolutely.
just keep elevating yourself and keep going.
Absolutely. And just finding that action, like you said, just not just thinking about it and actually having an action. And that's what you did. And look at you now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out. So if there's anything you want to promote, let the people know. Like, if there's something, I don't know if you guys have any coaching availabilities in Seattle or whatever you want to do, just, take this time this is your little spotlight if you want.
No, thing is in promotion, and I just want to say thank you, Chris. Just always supporting throughout the years when I was younger, just really supporting my sacrifices, and it's been a pleasure, and yeah, we're definitely gonna have to get together next time I'm in Florida.
For sure, man. For sure. That'll be a lot of fun.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you for being on. And we are going to wrap this up, man. Thank you for taking the time out to talk with me for a bit.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. All
Thank
right,
you.
man.